The following incident occurred last Sunday. I was in my study typing up an email for work when I fancied I heard a noise coming from my kitchen. I disregarded it. The house in which I live in is old, and strange noises were not uncommon. Not 5 minutes later, I heard the noise again. It was clicking of some sort. I broke out into a cold sweat. It was the sound of the back door unlocking. I opened my desk, pulled out my revolver, and closed the drawer. I stood up and quietly made my way to the door of my study. I carefully opened the door and stepped into the hall. Darkness greeted me, thick and awful, a shroud hiding whomever was lurking in my home. Then again, the darkness was my protector as well. Knowing my home like the back of my hand, I didn't bother turning on the lights. If someone truly was here, I wanted to get the jump on them. I moved down the hall as silently as possible and listened as hard as I could. Silence. Could I have been imagining things? As I mused over these points, a soft padding played its way from the direction of my kitchen to the other side of the house. No shoes or boots can make such a stealthy noise. Had the intruder removed his shoes before entering? The steps sound lighter than a full-grown man's. They sounded like a child's footsteps or those of a large dog. At this point, I decided to call out. "Hello?" I bellowed loudly, the volume of my voice causing me to recoil. "Get a hold of yourself, man," I whispered to myself. I yelled out again. "I am armed. The police are on their way." Stupid me. Why hadn't I called the police when I was in the study? I made my way to the kitchen, entered slowly, and I saw I was very much alone. Everything seemed to be in its place, yet when I turned on the lights, I had to choke down a scream. The back door, I had double locked for the night, only 2 hours before laid wide open. Adding to the horror, I discovered 2 sets of small, muddy, barefoot prints leading to the stairs. I closed the door quietly. Who the fuck is in my house? I thought. My mind began racing. And how did they undo the locks? I decided I would follow the footprints. And a new sound impressed itself upon my ears. The sound of a muffled conversation coming from above. Whoever was in my house had made their way to the upstairs bedroom. I steeled my nerves and swallowed the lump in my throat. This was my house. Whoever was whispering in my bedroom was invading my privacy and threatening my safety. I had to deal with it. I made to the bottom of the steps, switching on the light, and yelled, "Show yourself!" Weighted silence greeted me. "I have a gun and I will use it. Surrender yourself." My adrenaline began to pump, no longer cautious. I took the stairs 2 by 2, slamming open my bedroom door, and leveled the gun at nothing. My large bedroom, the only room on the second floor, was entirely empty. I looked at the floor and found the same footprints that were in my kitchen, only they stopped in the middle of the room. My blood ran cold. I checked the closet, under the bed, but there was no one to be seen. Was I going mad? I made my way back into the hall when the door suddenly closed behind me. I shouted in terror and bounded back down the stairs, through the kitchen, and into my study. I slammed the door and locked it tight. I collapsed in my chair and passed out. I woke just in time to hear them pad their way down the stairs, across the kitchen, and, to my horror, outside my study door. Locks seemed powerless to stop these entities, and I waited for the knob to turn. Instead, I heard something that chilled my blood. A voice whispered in the hall, a horrible voice belonging to someone no longer alive. My heart pounded, my blood froze in my veins, my lips moved, and my throat utterly gibberish mess. The doorknob began to turn in the lock, disengaging as if by magic. The door creaked open slowly. Nothing. Emptiness, darkness. I fear I had gone truly mad. Then the sounds of footsteps, but this time it was going away from my study. The back door opened and closed, leaving me in deafening silence. After what seemed like an eternity, I stood, shakily making my way to the kitchen. The light was still on, and nothing seemed out of order. The back door was closed, and I could see that the lock was again engaged. Looking around, I noticed a piece of paper on the table. I moved closer, picking up the note, and began to laugh horribly. It read, "Sorry, wrong house."